Obviously they're billing this whole thing here, Ed, as the Kelce Bowl. I mean, this is all the talk of the town. I mean, it's one of the major focus points of this. I can only imagine the attention you and your family are receiving from all types of media outlets, myself included, reaching out, getting you on the show here. What's been the most common question you think that everyone wants to know? What's like the biggest thing everyone tries to ask you or Donna or?
Well, of course, everybody wants to know who we're rooting for. That's which. It's just a stupid question. I'm rooting for Kelce. You know what I mean? That's that. You want to know which one? Both of them. That's a big question. Of course, everyone wants to know, well, what are you going to be wearing? What do that is the boy's mom has that jersey that's half Eagles, half Chiefs.
Love that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll be wearing, I've got this on here, my University of Cincinnati. Got Travis's 18 on the front and Jason's 60 on the back. So I'll wear that. I also have a high school jersey made up last year because the Chiefs came to Philly. And I had a high school jersey with one of their high school numbers on the front and the other one on the back. And that's the kind of stuff I'll be wearing. It's so cool. It is. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Well, I wanted to ask you about discipline with the boys, Ed. What type of disciplinarian were you as a father with the boys growing up? And is that different than the discipline style that you grew up with?
Well, certainly it was different than what I grew up with. There was a lot more corporal punishment in those days. And that was the norm. I mean, that's just, I'm 71 years old. In the 50s, you stepped out of line, you got cracked. And I'm not criticizing or advocating for that. It is what it is. Certainly the boys, when it came to something happening, there are consequences for your actions, and you have to accept and deal with those consequences. Whether that means timeout because you stole that from your little brother, or it means you're gonna miss a few weeks of basketball here because you just got tossed out of school for being a butthead. You got suspended for a couple of days. Well, guess what? We're not going to the gym. We're not going to the rink. I know one year Travis got a little dust up in middle school where he shouldn't have and got suspended for a couple of days. And so I had a friend, actually a close friend of Donna's, that worked for the Salvation Army down in Cleveland. And I called George. I said, I need to take him someplace, let him put in some manual labor somewhere, helping somebody. And we ended up helping a couple of guys clear a vacant lot. And and it was everything. It was broken glass. It was needles. This is a real social mess there. And that made an impression on him. The impression wasn't so much that this is your punishment for what you did, but this is an indication of where people have to live and how they have to live. And you don't have to, and you need to be thankful for that. And you need to be focused on the education you're being given at Cleveland Heights, and really that was the whole point of anything like that was, you've been given so much in this world, stop doing stupid shit. Excuse my French, but a lot of these kids will act up, and a lot of them will have problems, and those problems can be traced back to what's happening in the home. And that's not to criticize other parents. People do what they can. You have some of these families where both parents are working two jobs, just to make ends meet. It's tough raising kids that way.
Yeah, and one thing I focus on,
they didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And that's one of the things I focus on so much on this show here, Ed, is the fatherless crisis, the portion of so many kids growing up without a father in the home. And that is having such a devastating effect on our society as well. And I would love to see, we try to solve all these other issues that we have, but if we don't start focusing on our family units and bringing dads back into the home, I think we're just going to be running around in circles.
Well, yeah, you open a can of worms, but it certainly has has a huge influence on some of the problems we're seeing from a socio-economic standpoint. I mean, I want to choose my words carefully here, so bear with me. There is no doubt that there are things that happen or tendencies that kids develop when they don't have both parents in the house. It's not just, whether it's mom or dad missing. More often than not, it's the single mother and the absent father. That breeds trouble, and these kids, and it's not just the behavioral issues. I mean, this is a host of behavioral / physical ailments that you see in some young men that are unique to guys that didn't have dad in the house.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I certainly don't advocate for a woman staying with a guy that's smacking her around. That's totally unacceptable. But
I always get those emails, Ed, every time, because I talk about this so much, and that's always the one. Oh, should she have stayed with the guy that was abused? I never advocate for that. I respect single moms. I think they're working miracles in our country.
yes, they are.
Never to take anything away from them. My whole point
This
is
isn't
that
the bitch at single moms. This is the bitch about the dads. Is what
Right.
this is. That's what we need to focus on. And they can talk. They talk about deadbeat dads that are not paying the money. That is important. That certainly is important. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the involvement in the kids' lives. And dads matter, and they need to be there. And and you father a child, you need to step up.
You're right, and not only if there is no father, it's that father figure. So many kids can find that through sports, and that's why sports can be so great, because they can find a coach.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Coaches are so huge. Coaches and teachers. I mean, there's I don't know how many times going into school to talk to a teacher or about curriculum, how they're doing, problems they may be having, et cetera, that absentmindedly refer to the teacher as Coach Coach Johnson, no, Mr. Johnson, but it's the same persona. It's the same thing going on. And it is great. And that they have that available to them in sports, that that there are men like that. But each and every one of them will tell you the same thing. It's not the same as dad being in the house.
Yeah. There's no replacement. There's no replacement for parents.
That's right. There isn't.
And bringing it back in, obviously, when it comes to the game, the big game itself, tell me first, where do you plan on sitting in the stadium? You got a certain spot picked out, and you're going to win no matter what. But what are the plans for after the Super Bowl? You guys have any plans you have for after the game? So where will you be, and then where are you going after?
We will, as far as I know, I think we're sitting with the Eagles, but I'm not sure of that. I don't recall Super Bowls having designated areas for either team. I could be wrong on that, but I think our tickets that is Donna and our tickets are going to come from the Eagles side. I think Travis has a lot of people coming on that way. Now we're going to stay in the Chiefs Hotel with Travis and the gang. Because there's a big crowd going on the Philly side with my daughter-in-law's folks are coming to help out with the girls who are coming, and of course Kylie's going to have number 3 scheduled for the end of the month, but you never know. So they got quite an entourage on that side. So but we'll be credentialed so we can go see. We can hang out in both places and see. The fact of the matter is you don't get a lot of time with the kids. I mean, I'll tell you, one of my favorite, my absolute favorite Super Bowl moment came on Saturday night before the Chiefs played. Who did the Chiefs play that they beat?
The Niners.
The Niners in Miami. We didn't, Miami's so hard to get around. We're going to go out and do a family dinner because we had all kind of people there. And even ones who weren't going to the game came down to Miami to help us celebrate the entire thing. And we're sitting in this restaurant at the hotel at this resort, and there's all kinds of people around coming over saying hi. There's activities going on, a big crowd, raucous, wonderful time. We've got the, Wyatt there, the baby is there, and Kylie, and it was just a wonderful time. And all this activity, and we have Jason and Travis sitting together, and they start talking. And so, of course, I'm just sitting here listening, and what it was older brother Jason telling Travis, "Is this different? Here's what to expect when you get out on the field tomorrow." And, you got to remember, first of all, it's the same game you played in middle school. All right. The game hasn't changed. It's faster, it's bigger, it's stronger, but you're still playing a team sport. You're still playing football. And there were other things that he went into that are kind of like just brother stuff. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't even repeat them here. But at that moment, just right there, watching the two, and I did take a picture of that moment, was tempted to take a video, but then I said, no, this is, whether it's they're working in the garden or playing with them or reading to them, or, you go over their house, and as you can imagine, the living room is just a playroom. You got a gate up to keep the big dogs out of there and to keep the girls contained, but every toy they've got is, within reach, and they can play this, that, and whatever. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had 3 boys, and then finally got our girl on the 4th try. So
there you go.
If we didn't get her on 4, we'd have 5 by now. But we got her, and that was the name of that tune.
Now, yeah, I don't know. I have never heard anything from Jason as to you wish he had a son. Okay. And I think part of that is we don't do that. We're just very happy. Everyone come home alive. Okay, that's all I care about. Yeah, everybody come home healthy and happy, and we'll be fine. So,
how about Travis? Is he close here? Is he somebody that wants to have kids? Is he ready?
I thought he was. I thought he was. He had a long-term relationship with just an absolutely lovely, wonderful young woman. He just isn't ready to settle down. And unfortunately, I think she was. I think she got tired of waiting, because they ended up apart, and it is what it is. I'm not certainly not going to advocate settle down because it's time. In fact, there was a point right after Jason got married where Travis was talking about, maybe it's time I settled down. And I gave him a call and was talking to him about that. And I said, so what do you mean? And he went on to rattle off a lot of things of the soul, but no place in that did he mention Kayla's name. And I said, first and foremost, Kayla deserves more than that. And if this is someone you want to spend your life with and are ready to get married and want to settle down and start a family, that should have been the first thing out of your mouth. Not that you're old or getting older and it's time to settle down. Because those, you and I both know those ones. But come over, grab my phone, and we play games on that. Or you could do I don't sugar them up that much, just because I don't want to unload. Get over there, pump them full of fruit snacks, and take off for Kylie to deal with the aftermath. But yeah, it's just a joy. You can go over there with the intention that, Jason, I got to talk to you about this. But the girls are there, and it's pop, and they come running over, and then the next thing you know, it's 3 hours later. You go home. Oh shit! I forgot to bring that up. We need to talk about that in the garden or something. So
yeah, wonderful stuff. I'm in no hurry to get there, believe me, but I hear all the good news about it. So
it is awesome, and you're right, and you don't want to be in a hurry to get there, because you want this to happen naturally, and you want this to be a fully involved family thing, and it really is. I mean, Kylie has wonderful parents. Ed and Lisa are super. It is the baby Ellie is she gets a little nervous if mom or dad aren't right there, and she's warming up to me pretty good. She plays with me okay, but but Big Ed, that is Kylie's dad, is like the Ellie whisperer. She could just hang with him and everything's okay. Kylie or Jason can leave the room and there's no panic. I'm kind of working my way in that direction, but it's yeah, it is so much fun, and it's a big, just a big warm family environment. Kylie's sister's got two now. Connor Barwin's over with well, I'm not going to say his name, his son, and